Welcome to the AI Image Showdown. Today, 3 of the biggest image models are going head-to-head, not to see who makes the prettiest picture, but who actually understands what they're generating. We've got ChatGPT's new Images feature, Gemini 3 Pro image preview via Google AI Studio, and Midjourney V7. They're all getting the same prompts, no edits, no second chances, no excuses. Across 5 different challenges, we're testing emotional contradiction, mirror selfie logic, creative restriction, zero gravity physics, and what happens when real-world physics quietly stops making sense. Some of these tests are sneaky, some are uncomfortable, and some of them break reality in very creative ways. By the end of this, one model clearly handles visual logic better than the others. Let's start breaking things! Quick note before we start. I try to keep the playing field as fair as possible. Gemini is set to low temperature, Midjourney is in raw mode with stylization and weirdness set to 0. Another important thing, Midjourney generates 4 images at once, while ChatGPT and Gemini generate 1. So for consistency, I'm judging Midjourney based on a single image from each generation. Alright, let's get into the first test. Let's start with something deceptively simple. This first test isn't about beauty or style, it's about whether the model can hold 2 opposite ideas in the same image, without cheating. I'm testing who actually understands a contradiction. Here's the prompt. A man standing in a crowded subway station. Everyone around him looks calm, normal, routine. And the man himself? Internally, he's having intense panic and anxiety. But here's the key part. On the outside, he's smiling. Not a fake smile, not a creepy smile, just a completely normal, everyday smile. And the prompt is very strict. No visible distress, no exaggerated expressions, no body language clues, no symbols, no text. If the model wants to show panic, it has to do it without touching his face. So before we even start, let's define success. If the image looks dramatic, emotional, or obviously tense, that's a fail. If the image looks pleasant and calm, that's also a fail. A good result should make you feel like something here feels wrong, without knowing exactly why. Alright, let's do this! I'll start with ChatGPT's Images tool. Same prompt, no changes. Generating. Okay. This is really clean, like really clean. Good lighting, good composition, very realistic. And honestly, if I saw this on a website, I wouldn't question it at all. The guy looks nice, the crowd looks normal, nothing feels off. And that's kind of the problem. This feels emotionally neutral. It doesn't make me uneasy, it doesn't create any friction. ChatGPT followed the rules perfectly, but it also stayed very safe. This feels more like a man having a decent commute than a man holding it together while panicking inside. Okay, Midjourney next. Raw mode, low stylization, let's see. Okay, yeah, this already feels different. I don't see panic, but I feel pressure. The framing is tighter, the crowd feels heavier, the smile feels empty? Not fake, just disconnected. I can't point to a single trick here. It's not lightning, it's not blur, it's the whole image together. This is the first one that makes me slightly uncomfortable, and I don't love it, which is good, because that's exactly what the prompt asked for. Last one, Gemini. Same prompt, generating. Okay, this one feels very humane, very warm. The guy feels approachable, the crowd feels alive but harmless. If I didn't know the prompt, I would never assume that this person is panicking internally. It feels like Gemini went for authentic everyday moment instead of emotional contrast. It's a nice image, but it doesn't push me anywhere emotionally. So looking at all 3 together, ChatGPT feels correct, Gemini feels kind, Midjourney feels tense, and for this specific test, tension is the point. So yeah, for this prompt Midjourney wins. Not because it's more realistic, not because it's more cinematic, but because it's the only one that makes me pause and think something here isn't right. And that's a really hard thing to generate on purpose. Let's move on, because the next prompt is way more brutal, and I have a feeling the ranking might change. Now, next test. This one's less about vibes and way more about physics. The prompt is simple on paper, but brutal in practice. A glass of water floating in zero gravity inside a space station. The water is partially spilled, forming small spherical droplets. The glass stays upright, and the water has to follow real zero gravity physics. No motion blur, no cinematic excuses. Here's the deal. If I see a horizontal water line, gravity just snuck into space. If the water behaves like it's on Earth, it fails. And if the model ignores the inside the space station part, yeah, instant red flag. Let's see who actually understands how liquids behave in zero G. Okay, first up, ChatGPT. Here we go. Image is in. Interesting. So first thing I'm checking, do I see a water line? Nope. That's good. The water inside the glass isn't flat, it's kind of clinging to the sides. That's actually what you want to see in zero gravity. Surface tension takes over. The droplets outside the glass, they're spherical, different sizes, floating randomly. No falling down, no direction. Also, quick bonus point. This actually looks like it's inside a space station. Equipment, structure, not just space vibes. Is it perfect? No. But physics-wise, this is solid. So ChatGPT sets a pretty high bar. Alright, Midjourney next. Okay, visually this is very clean. Sharp image, nice lighting, beautiful glass, great looking droplets. But let's slow down. First of all, where's the space station? Because this doesn't feel like it's happening inside a space station at all. It looks more like a studio setup or just water floating in space. And that already matters because the prompt was very specific. Now physics check. Inside the glass, yeah, there it is, a clean, continuous water surface. That's a problem. In zero gravity, water doesn't form a stable, flat surface like that. There is no up or down to hold it in place. This looks like normal Earth water, just floating for dramatic effect. And once you spot the water line, it's basically game over for this test. It's not ugly, it's not low quality, it just follows the wrong physical rules, and it ignores a key part of the prompt. So Midjourney absolutely nails the aesthetics, but between the physics and the missing space station, this one doesn't pass. Last one, Gemini. Now this is different. First off, yes, this clearly looks like it's inside the space station. That's already a good start. Now the water. Inside the glass, I'm not seeing a flat water line. Instead, the water forms this kind of irregular rounded mass. So Gemini does understand the gravity isn't acting here, but here's where it gets tricky. That water mass inside the glass feels too detached. It's almost like a floating blob instead of water interacting with glass. In real zero gravity, water strongly sticks to the container walls. It creeps, it hugs, it climbs. Here, it feels more like the water forgot the glass exists. So this isn't a hard fail. It's clearly trying to simulate zero-G behavior, but it's also oversimplified. I'd call this one a partial success. Not fully wrong, but not fully correct either. Alright, quick recap. This round goes to ChatGPT. Not the flashiest image, but the only one that actually played by the rules of zero gravity. Gemini kind of gets it. Gravity is gone, physics is trying, but the water feels like it forgot the glass exists. Midjourney? Gorgeous as always, wrong universe. So yeah, ChatGPT wins on physics, Gemini gets an honorable mention, and Midjourney sits this one out. Now let's move on to the next test, and this one's going to be way less forgiving. Next test. This one is all about creative restriction. The idea is simple and kind of evil. A woman standing in the rain, she looks like she's holding an umbrella, but she's not holding anything. No umbrella, nothing in her hands. And yet, she's completely dry. Rain everywhere around her, but not a single drop touches her. Like there's an invisible umbrella doing its job. So here's the rule. If I see an actual umbrella, it's a fail. If she's wet, it's a fail. And if the pose doesn't sell the idea of holding an umbrella, it's also a fail. Here we go! Okay, first up, ChatGPT. Alright, image is in. So first impression, yeah, she's dry, very dry. And I do see this invisible rain shield above her head, like a dome where the rain just stops. That part works. But the hands are not really umbrella hands. She's holding both arms up like she's lifting a tarp, or maybe surrendering to the rain gods. It doesn't really read as umbrella grip. Also, why is her lower body underwater? She looks like she's standing in a river now. That wasn't part of the deal. So, interesting interpretation, some parts are clever, but it's kind of drifted off into its own idea. Not a fail, but not clean either. Now Midjourney. And yeah, of course, there's an umbrella. I literally said no umbrella, and Midjourney was like, cool story, here's an umbrella. This is very on brand. Beautiful lightning, nice rain, cinematic vibes, but conceptually, it just cannot resist drawing the thing even when the whole challenge is not drawing it. So yeah, this one's out, immediately. Alright, last one, Gemini. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, this is it. Her hands, perfect umbrella pose. 2 hands up, grip position, totally believable. There's no umbrella at all. The rain is falling everywhere, and you can literally see it bouncing off an invisible shape above her head, like it's hitting something that isn't there. She's dry. The ground around her is dry. The effect is super clear. This actually feels like the model understood the trick. Don't draw the object, draw its consequence. That's exactly what this test was about. So verdict, Midjourney fails immediately. It just cannot stop itself. ChatGPT has interesting ideas, but kind of overthinks and loses the pose. Gemini? Gemini absolutely nails this one. Clean concept, clear illusion, no cheating. Gemini takes this test, no question. Let's move on to the next experiment. Alright, next test. This one is all about killing the AI look. The prompt sounds simple, but it's actually brutal. A mirror selfie after a long workday in a messy living room. Home clothes, shorts, socks, one shoulder casually exposed, unfolded laundry everywhere, a slightly set couch, a plant that clearly hasn't been watered in a while. And most important, no posing, no aesthetics, no trying to look good. If it looks staged, it fails. If it looks like someone meant to take a photo, it fails. I'm looking for zero awareness. Let's start with ChatGPT. Okay, image is in. Interesting. First impression, this is actually pretty brave. The body type feels real, no AI fitness model vibes, the legs are full, the knees have real life weight to them, nothing here is trying to be sexy. And the face? That face is done, just completely emotionally checked out. I like that. The plant though? That plant is dead. That's a solid detail. But the lightning is little too polite. It's flat, but not accidentally flat. It feels like someone still thought about it. And the whole scene feels a bit composed, like this is how someone imagines an unplanned selfie should look. So yeah, strong effort, very humane in parts, but still slightly self-aware. Now it is Midjourney's turn. Okay, yeah, there it is. Everything is just too good. The girl is too pretty, the posture is too stable, the mess is messy in an aesthetic way. Even when it tries to be casual, it's casual like fashion shoot pretending not to care. This doesn't feel like I grabbed my phone without thinking. This feels like I carefully recreated the idea of not thinking. Midjourney just can't stop being beautiful, even when you beg it not to. So yeah, visually nice, conceptually, this one misses the point. And last one, Gemini. Okay, wow, this feels different immediately. The lighting is rough, no cinematic, no flattering, just there. The body language, heavy, tired, like someone who's been standing all day and is over it. The room feels lived in, not styled, not balanced, just cluttered in an honest way. The plant is dying, the couch looks tired, the whole place feels like a week that got away from you. Now yes, small miss. We asked for a shoulder exposed and Gemini forgot that. And the coffee cups? A bit too clean, a bit too symmetrical. But overall, this feels like a real moment that accidentally got captured. Not a concept, not a vibe, a moment. So yeah, if I had to pick a winner here, ChatGPT did some really smart things, Midjourney stayed beautiful no matter what, but Gemini nailed the exhaustion. And for this test, that's the whole point. Gemini takes this one. Now, this is the final experiment. For this one, I wanted to push things a bit differently. No tricks, no clever constraints, no telling the model how to mess up. The prompt is simple. Create a realistic image with multiple obvious physical impossibilities. I'm not asking what breaks. I'm not hinting at gravity, perspective, or logic. I'm just letting each model decide how reality fails. Here's what I'm expecting. If the image feels forced or chaotic right away, that's a miss. If it looks normal at first and only then starts feeling wrong, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Let's start with ChatGPT. Okay, image is done. And yeah, this is chaos. Everything is happening at once. Liquids floating, food mid-air, gravity took the day off completely. It's visually wild, sure, but it feels like the model is trying really hard to show me it can break physics. Nothing eases you into it. It's just like, hey, look, laws are broken. Cool image, but my brain immediately labels this as AI weirdness and moves on. Alright, Midjourney next. Okay, yeah, this looks incredible. Midjourney doing Midjourney things. Beautiful lighting, great composition, super cinematic. The physics are clearly broken, buildings bending, structures floating, stuff that absolutely shouldn't exist. But here's the thing, it's so aesthetic that it almost feels intentional, like a movie poster. I'm not confused, I'm impressed, which is great, but that's not exactly what I was testing. Alright, last one, Gemini. Okay, hold on. This one feels different. At first glance, it looks normal, like a random street photo. Nothing flashy, no dramatic effects. And then, wait, why is that bent like that? Why is that doing that? And suddenly you start noticing more and more and more. This doesn't scream AI image, it whispers something is very wrong here. And that's honestly kind of unsettling, in a good way. Now, let's put them side by side. ChatGPT gave me raw chaos, Midjourney gave me beautiful broken reality, Gemini gave me quiet discomfort. So who wins this one? If we're talking pure visuals, Midjourney, no question. If we're talking shock value, ChatGPT goes hard. But if the goal is believable physical failure, the kind that makes your brain pause and double-check reality, Gemini takes it. And that's the interesting part. Because breaking physics isn't about how much you break, it's about how quietly you do it. That was fun. Okay, that's it. 5 challenges, 5 very different kinds of pressure, and honestly, I didn't expect the results to land like this. Some models look amazing, some models think deeply, and some models quietly mess with your brain in the best way. If you enjoyed this experiment, hit like, it actually helps a lot. Drop a comment and tell me which model you think won and why. And if you want more AI image experiments like this, subscribe, because the next one, yeah, it's going to be even meaner. See you in the next round!